Every story deserves a conversation. Welcome to the Binge Room. I am the Anonymous Narrator. Today we are diving into a Korean drama that isn't just about school violence. It's about what happens when the people who are supposed to protect students fail them. Imagine being bullied every single day. You tell your teacher, nothing happens. You tell your parents, nothing changes. The bullies know they are untouchable because they come from powerful families, have influential parents, or simply know nobody can stop them. So, what happens then? That's exactly the question Teach You a Lesson tries to answer. At first glance, it looks like another action K-drama with badass fight scenes. But once you start watching, you realize every punch has a reason, every fight has a purpose, and every victory feels earned. So, let's talk about it. One thing I absolutely loved about this drama is that it isn't simply about beating up bullies. That's what I expected before watching it. I thought the Educational Rights Protection Bureau would just walk into schools, throw a few punches, defeat the bad guys, and move on to the next episode. But that's not what happens at all. Every case feels different. Every bully is different. Every victim has a different story. And because of that, every solution is different too. Sometimes violence is necessary. Sometimes exposing the truth is enough. Sometimes the real enemy isn't even the students, it's the parents or the corrupt school administration. That's what makes this drama feel fresh throughout all of the 10 episodes. Now let's talk about what everyone here came for, the fight scenes. And honestly, they're incredible. Not because they're flashy, but because they're satisfying. Every single fight feels like justice finally catching up to someone who thought they were above everyone else. Instead of random action scenes thrown in just to look cool, every fight carries emotional weight. You actually want the bully to lose, and when they finally do, it feels rewarding. Another thing I appreciated was that every fight had its own personality. The ERPB doesn't solve every problem the same way. They don't just walk in, beat everyone up and leave. They investigate. They understand the situation. They figure out what's really happening, and only when the violence becomes absolutely necessary do they fight. That balance made every confrontation feel meaningful instead of repetitive. Of course, there are still moments where the action is pure aura, and trust me, there are scenes in this drama that had me replaying them multiple times. Now, let's talk about the man himself, Na Hwa-jin. This guy is easily one of my favorite K-drama protagonists. First of all, the aura man, the aura. The man walks into a room and immediately owns it. He got the calm, smart, handsome Ajushi type of vibes that just commands respect. He doesn't need to shout. He doesn't need to show off. His presence alone is enough. And then there are the iconic slaps. If you have watched the drama, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. Those slap scenes are somehow both hilarious and satisfying at the same time. But my favorite moment has to be his fights in the rain. Everything about that scene, the cinematography, the choreography, the atmosphere was absolutely perfect. The Ajushi was aura farming in those scenes. That scene alone convinced me that Kim Myo-yeol was the perfect choice for this role. And of course, every great protagonist has a reason behind who they have become. Na Hwa-jin is no different. His fiancée, Choi Ga-yeon, was a teacher. She believed students could be saved. She tried to protect one of them, even after discovering he was involved in drugs and gangsters, but her kindness cost her everything. She was murdered by the very student she was trying to help. The student was arrested, justice was technically served, but for Na Hwa-jin, that wasn't enough, because punishment doesn't bring back people. The tragedy became the reason behind the creation of Educational Rights Protection Bureau. Together with the Minister of Education, who was also Choi Ga-yeon's father, they created an organization with one simple belief. We are here for the victim. Not the teacher, not the student, the victim. Whoever they may be. And I honestly think that's one of the strongest messages in the series. Now, this is probably the most controversial part of the show. Yes, The drama shows adults using violence against middle school and high school students. And yes, sometimes it feels exaggerated. But here's why I think it's important. The violence is never presented as entertainment. It's shown as the absolute last option. Every other method fails first. Warnings fail, teachers fail, parents fail, the system fails. Only then does the ERPB step in. Do I think this would work in real life? Probably not. But within the world of this drama, it makes sense. One thing I genuinely cannot criticize is the acting. Kim Moo-yeol completely owns the role of Na Hwa-jin. Lee Song-min brings authority and emotional weight as the minister Choi Gang-seok. Jin Ki-joo as Im Han-rin was an absolute scene stealer. I don't know how many times she swore during the series, but every single curse felt perfectly delivered. She brought toughness, humor, and emotion all at once. Bong Yeon-dae adds intelligence and balance to the team. And even though Choi Ga-yeon doesn't get much screen time, Ha-young leaves a lasting impact because her character is the emotional foundation of the entire story. Every actor understood their role perfectly. I never felt like I was watching the actors. I felt like I was watching the real peoples. What surprised me the most wasn't the action, it was the emotion. The drama constantly asked difficult questions. Why do victims have to prove they are victims? Why do powerful families always seem to escape consequences? Why are teachers afraid of students? And why does justice often arrive too late? There's one line from the drama that perfectly captures everything it stands for. If adults become afraid of children, the world is doomed. And that is also the line that Na Hwa-jin's fiancé used to tell him every time she came across one of the bullies. That single sentence became the heart of the entire series for me because it's not really talking about children. It's talking about responsibility. It's talking about what happens when authority disappears, when adults stop guiding, stop protecting, and stop setting boundaries. That's when everyone loses. Overall, I absolutely enjoyed Teach You a Lesson. It isn't perfect. Some moments are exaggerated. Some situations are unrealistic. But none of that stopped me from enjoying it because underneath all that action, there's a story about justice, responsibility, and protecting those who can't protect themselves. For me, this drama deserves an 8.5 out of 10. And yes, I absolutely recommend watching it, not just for the incredible action, not just for Na Hwa-jin's aura, but because every episode gives you a different perspective on the victims, bullies, teachers, and the system that connects them all. Every story deserves a conversation. Thank you for joining me inside the Binge Room. I am the Anonymous Narrator. If you enjoyed today's discussion, don't forget to follow the podcast so you never missed our next binge-worthy conversation. Until next time, keep watching, keep wondering. I will see you in the Binge Room.